God, he's killing me. Trish, run, run, Trish, run. He's killing me. Oh, yeah, Rob, it sounds like Jason's absolutely just viciously and violently and quickly killing you. So much so, you were able to utter several times, he's killing me. Run, Trish. You're doing amazing, sweetie. Best acting. Much wow. I'm John Renton with the Retro View of Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Narrator, it was not the final chapter. This came out in 1984, nearly 40 years old, and, well, it was a step above part 3. That's not saying much. Things would start to kind of slide downhill with a new beginning, even though they tried to go in a different direction. And then Jason Lives, and various others, and my God, this franchise just wouldn't end. Well, actually, that's unfair. Jason Goes to Hell kind of cemented the whole thing as being totally on ice. And then Freddy vs. Jason, and Friday the 13th, 2009 reboot. Besides Beautiful Women, that movie had nothing. It had Jason running like a fucking linebacker. Thank you, Michael Bay. I fucking hate you. I did retro review that one as well as the first Friday the 13th, Part 2, and Part 3 recently. Check those out on the Real Honest Movie Reviews playlist. So, Joseph Zito directed this. He did The Prowler, which actually wasn't too bad. That was another thing I retro reviewed. And also a couple Chuck Norris action movies. So this is written by Barney Cohen, who created that show Forever Night that I totally forgot about until just now. It wasn't bad, but it left my memory, so it didn't make much of an impression. And Bruce Hidami Sakau, who did a show called Secret War. If I butchered that name, I apologize. This is noteworthy for Corey Feldman continuing to rise up in the 80s. I mean, he did a lot of projects. I know he's had his issues. His parents screwed him over on stuff, and it is unfortunate. I wonder how Corey Feldman's doing. I wonder how he's doing. Anyway, nevertheless, he plays Tommy. Tommy, can you hear me? Can you feel me near you? Anybody gets that reference? I love you guys. There's Trish, played by Kimberly Beck. Not with 2 turntables and a microphone. She's not where it's at. And then there is their mother, Mrs. Jarvis, played by Joan Freeman, who they live in a particular house, as most people do, unless they live in a loft apartment. And then a bunch of partiers show up. And then from there, Jason revives coming out of the morgue and decides to kill indiscriminately and also stop people from having bad shower sex. Yeah, as far as movies go, this is certainly one of the better editions of the Friday the 13th timeline. But it's not great. Things are going to start sliding downhill. But box office numbers. $2.6 million budget, $7.7 million in today's money. That's actually pretty good, all things considered. Only $300,000 more than Part 1. $11.1 million opening, $32.8 million in today's money, and a $33 million overall gross, $3 million less than the third one. $97.5 million in today's money. So it still was a rip-roaring success. I mean, advertising costs aside, this made quite a bit. So, the movie, such as it is, had Tommy as a staple character in the sense that he was, part of the 5th one, and then they just kind of forgot about it shortly after the 5th one. I think he might have been in the 6th one. It's been a bit since I've seen that, so I might actually just review, well, I don't know if I'm going to review all of them, because I think I might go absolutely batshit insane, but I might review at least A New Beginning. We'll see. A New Beginning, that movie was well received. It wasn't bad. It was just people were expecting something and it took them in a different direction. So it was supposed to be a new beginning. Why did the hockey mask explode in the title sequence? I don't know. So we get recaps of the first 3 movies. Because of course we fucking do. If they did this with every single Jason movie, my God, by the time we got to the 7th movie, the first 15 minutes would be taken up by clips of that. So yes, there's a mortician, or a morgue director, or a coroner, or a horner, as it were, because he seems kind of horny for dead bodies. The necro creep stopping for a cold one, not in a bar, named Axel. And then he bangs a nurse under Jason's corpse. And then Jason revives, and Jason comes back. And then suddenly, Jason, when Jason basically stops him or whatever, or stops the nurse from getting back with the guy, it's like, you're having such bad sex, I can't let you reproduce. That does not look like a knife at all. Let's just move on. Corey Feldman, by the way, Tommy, should have kept the alien mask on. Let's be perfectly honest, that's the best he's looked. That's unfair. Poor Corey Feldman. And all the characters are super dumb, but not super annoying. There's no Shelley like in Chapter 3. This is also taking place immediately after the events of the third movie, despite coming out 2 years later. We cut right to the barn. They're taking Jason out. They take him to the morgue, and all that stuff happens. And Crispin Glover's Jimmy is told that he's a dead fuck. Yes, Crispin Glover is in this. Not that you couldn't tell from the weirdness. And Mrs. Voorhees' grave is just off to the goddamn side. Apparently they didn't want to keep that away from public eye. And then Jason stops a hitchhiker from getting potassium poisoning by eating a banana. Says, "You can't. I won't let you die this way." Nah. Yeah, there's going to be jokes in this because I don't really have much, because there's not much of a story to this. That being said, this is infinitely better than Part 3. Gordon the dog was the best actor in the movie, and he's a fucking dog. Samantha, the character of Samantha, Sam for short, making the pants too long. She's also an easy lover. She takes a ton of dicks, you won't believe it. Like no other, and I don't have the rest of this bit. So, various nameless people. I mean, they have names, but they're also, like, just pointless characters. And twins. Well, not twins, but, you know, they look close enough for rock and roll. So, I point out that Sarah would be one of the last characters to die. Trish also is the final girl, since she's the sister of Tommy. And then the character of Rob shows up, out of nowhere. Rob, it turns out, actually had a sister that was in Part 2, Sandra, and now he has a machete and he's looking for revenge on Jason. No, really, that's the explanation they give. And this is how great Rob is. He's not great at what he does. He is not great at getting revenge. He's not really great at anything, to be perfectly honest. Tommy instantly takes to Rob, just takes to him, and then these kids are out partying over at this other house that just happens to exist right across the street from them, or across the yard, or across the lot. I don't really know. It's near Camp Crystal Lake. Maybe they couldn't afford the rights to Crystal Lake anymore. Crispin Glover dances like I do, is what I noted. Coors Banquet 12-ounce beers just stabbed through the goddamn top instead of opening them like a normal human. And then and then finally Jason shows up and starts killing people. Sam goes skinny dipping. Actress played Samantha looked very good, by the way. And gets Jason inside her. I'm sorry, gets Jason's weapon inside her. This needs to be worded differently. Let's just move. Jason just repeatedly inserting himself inside her until she died. Like that scene from 7. You know the one I'm talking about. And then her boyfriend gets stabbed in the leg by some kind of harpoon-type gun. Then he's dead. And then Gordon keeps showing up indiscriminately, the dog as it were. And everybody just starts dying. Nobody notices that this is going on. There's a party going on. Well, one of the girls that showed up decides to leave, and then she gets killed with a harpoon or a pitchfork or something through the goddamn back. And more people dying while a silent film is being watched. A smut film while people are getting naked and everything. And all the titties. There at least were titties in this, so I guess you could be happy about that. Jason just ends up... Jason ends up pulling this woman out. I believe it was Sarah, I think it was Sarah. I don't know. All these characters blend together. Pulled her through the window. That's the first of many windows that got broken. And she fell right into the station wagon. Man, she had a wagon, and it broke the wagon. Had a wagon is what the kids say, right? Sure, let's go with that. Then there's really, really lousy shower sex to the point that Jason says, okay, you fornicated, I guess, even though I don't know what that word means. Let me kill everybody. And he does. He impales one body next to by the cabinet next to the shower that somehow Trish doesn't see until way later. And then Tommy and Trish are driving back. Well, Trish is driving. I don't think Corey Feldman even now should be trusted behind the wheel. That's mean. Let's get back to the reality. And everybody is stupid. The projection. Everybody's stupid as far as their characters, but they're not annoying. And, you know, the guy watching a silent film, Teddy, and then he gets stabbed through the projection. See, you shouldn't project too much. Sorry. Then and Trish, Rob, and Tommy are like, okay, just, you know, just stay here, Tommy. Hold down the fort while we go looking for stuff. I'm tough. I know what I'm doing. This is after Rob has explained what happened with his sister, and he's looking for revenge. Jason kills a guy in a shower doing a skull massage. That's why his job as a chiropractor never really took off, because he kept killing people. Also, nobody really wanted to deal with a mutated hockey mask wearing individual that charged $50 an hour. Cheap for a chiropractor, except if you die. So, Rob explains all this. It's silly. Stay here with Gordon is what he tells Trish. Woof, not now, Gordon. We'll go walkies later. And then they end up in the basement. They go, one of their feet goes through the goddamn stairs that apparently are just rotted. He goes to get the machete, ignoring the fact there are weapons in this house he could have gotten. But goddamn it, he wants that machete. And, oh God, he's killing me, Tracy. Who had all the time to say that? He could have easily grabbed a weapon and hit him. Because it's so dark you can't see what the fuck's going on. And then everyone's dead. Except Tommy and Trish. And then Tommy has seen these newspaper clippings a little bit earlier on, saw how Jason looked with all the weird hair and stuff like that. While Trish is hunting, or being hunted and all that, and she slams a plugged-in TV on his head, Tommy decides brilliant idea is to let his sister run around panicked and likely dying to cut and shave his hair. And he had long hair there, so that was a lot to shave. That was a hell of a goddamn razor. He did that and made himself look like Jason underwater. And then he ends up, tricking Jason and all that. Tricking Jason, he got inside his head like, I'm gonna trick you. And then Trish stabs him. And then Corey ends up, stabbing him. And then Jason gets a thing through the machete through the head. Then he starts twitching. And then Tommy starts yelling, die, 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 and just starts, doing this and everything and all that. And then Jason's seemingly dead. And then Trish is in the hospital, asks if she can see her brother Tommy. Sure, you can see Tommy, the murderous psychopath that he is, even though he did save, you didn't save anybody else. And then, I'm just crumpling up these notes right here. And then we see a shot of Corey Feldman, and he's looking, I'm Jason now, look at me, I am Jason now. And they imply that in the next movie. Possession, hooray! That always works out well, except in Friday 13th, Jason goes to hell. Oh, right. Anyway, yeah, that was fun, I guess. It was certainly, again, better in Chapter 3. Then after a new beginning, things really start to head downhill. Maybe I'll review Chapter 5 at least. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Rickland. I'll see you soon.